The New Orleans Saints are heading into Tennessee. Tennessee is on a hell of a heater at the moment. Even despite Derrick Henry being out, they smacked the Rams in Los Angeles, mostly because Matthew Stafford went back to Detroit Lions. Matthew Stafford there in the early going with those interceptions. I feel as though every time I say I saw the stupidest interception possible, and usually it's Carson Wentz I associate with it, someone always tries to outdo it. So Carson Wentz with his fumble/interception 2 Sundays ago. Then he has the one against the Titans where he just throws it left-handed straight into the guy's hands. And then Matthew Stafford does a 360 toss into a guy's hand, which I guess is kind of ironic that it happened 2 times against the Titans. You talk about turnovers masking bigger defensive issues. I think that's where the Titans got a little bit lucky in terms of their defense the last couple of weeks, because that just set the tone for that entire Sunday night game. When you're just instantly down 14-6, you have to look up in the Rams, and the Titans are a good enough offense to where they could just kind of grind it out, keep the lead, keep time of possession, keep Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and all those guys off the field. It just was a perfect strategy for them. Now they go against the Saints team that we mentioned in the Falcons-Cowboys breakdown is having issues at the quarterback position. Trevor Siemian, he was great for that game against the Bucs. But the problem with Trevor Siemian is his ability to put up consecutive games in which he's an effective quarterback. Will Taysom Hill get the start? I was surprised that he didn't get the start in this last game. I think part of that is if you're Sean Payton, you almost like having Taysom Hill as that weapon that you can bring off the bench, that 6th man, so to say, where you could just put him in and plug and play in different roles. Yeah. That you just need a established quarterback to be able to use Taysom Hill properly. But I think you have to cut the formalities here and just put Taysom Hill into the lineup and see what you could get out of him, because Trevor Siemian is only good for a spot start here. He is not a guy that you could depend on for multiple games. See, I don't want to take the Titans almost because I'm so upset with my ability to pick Titans games. They're a team that I doubt, and then I buy in and they end up losing. I'm going to have to do it just because, again, they are facing the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
But I don't feel good about it. They are 3-point favorites in this game, I should add.
So what the Sunday night game taught me between the Titans and the Rams, because this was a very weird game. If you're hitting the panic button for the Rams, don't. It's just a weird game. Stafford's going to have some of them every now and then. Every quarterback has it. There's been so many weird interceptions that you forgot to mention the Mahomes one against the racial slurs where he just kind of flips the ball over his head and just
we'll get into some Mahomes interceptions here a little bit. That's going to be a big talking point for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I would say that one might top the Carson Wentz ones, although the Wentz ones are pretty bad. I think I saw Jameis Winston throw a butt interception in one of these games, though, so that's also there. Anyways, what I did learn is that the reason I thought the Titans were going to be done after the Derrick Henry injury was confirmed by that game, which is the Titans are really going to struggle to score points over the next 2 months without Derrick Henry. And this extends into the playoffs if Derrick Henry doesn't come back. But in games where Derrick Henry is held under like 70 yards, the Titans really don't have other options where they can find points because all of a sudden they become one-dimensional. And Ryan Tannehill is a quarterback that is built around, he makes strategic throws to win games in certain situations. And that threat of running helps open up the Ryan Tannehill game. So the Titans are really going to struggle to score points over the next 6 to 8 weeks. And when they play stronger opponents that don't make mistakes like the Rams do, not that the Rams aren't a good team, but the Rams made a lot of mistakes in that game. That's going to be one where it starts to come back against them, which is exactly why I'm going to pick the New Orleans Saints this week to win the game in Tennessee. Not that I believe in the Saints like being a great team that is about to be, I think, like 6-3 if they win this week. I think that they're in like the 10 win range where they're going to lose a wild card, or they're going to be like 6.5 point dogs in a wild card game this year. They're fine. The Saints are a fine team. And what's interesting for the Titans point that I was wrong about is similarly to how I talked about the Bengals. This is not to say that this is a turning point, but they are better than I expected. The Titans defense. Better than I expected, because in the last 4 weeks, the number one pass rusher in pressures on the quarterback is Jeffery Simmons of the Titans. The number 2 edge rusher in pressures, or number 2 pass rusher in pressures on the quarterback over the last 4 weeks Also on the Titans, Danico Autry, which is fascinating that the Titans have gotten so much pressure on the quarterback, which helps them because last time I checked, Janoris Jenkins is their number one corner. And that's not a great situation anyone wants to be in. So the Titans are better because they have a couple of good players on the defensive line that have played better than expectations. I knew Jeffery Simmons was pretty good coming into this year, but thinking of him as a game-changing defensive tackle was not exactly my perception of him. That's kind of where I'm leaning on Jeffery Simmons now. Like, this is a guy who is a game breaker on the interior, not quite to the level of Aaron Donald, because that's the gold standard, but he's like a silver or bronze standard in terms of game breaking defensive tackles. So better. Yes. Do the Saints have a really good O-line? Yes, they do. And for that reason, I think the Saints are going to win against the Tennessee Titans.
Okay. Is that the cojones pick of the week?
I think so. I think this is. I mean, there's one more game on here that could qualify for it, but this might be my tremendo cojones pick this week.